With a news update on WHTC Howland's Cool FM, I'm Gary Stevens. Even though Ottawa County is adjacent to Lake Michigan, the issue of having enough water to drink is one that concerns some county officials. During this morning's bi-monthly meeting, the county's groundwater board will go over various items, including an update on ongoing efforts by state and federal agencies to determine the status of groundwater availability. This is being done over several counties in the southwest corner of Michigan through an airborne electromagnetic device carried by overhead helicopters, according to Ottawa County Water Resources Commissioner Joe Bush.
They're trying to figure out, collect the data on where is that water and how deep is it and how many layers of rock is it between here and there. We don't have a good understanding of where it's located.
The board will also go over plans by Consumers Energy to drill and operate 2 non-hazardous waste disposal wells near the J.H. Campbell plant in Port Sheldon Township, as well as ordinances by 3 townships to help slow the depletion of groundwater through zoning and subdivision regulations. The Ottawa County Groundwater Board's 9 a.m. meeting is in the Hickory Conference Room of the Administration Building in the Fillmore Street Complex. An online link to the meeting agenda and supporting documents is in this story at WHTC.com. Another Lakeshore municipality addresses a spending plan for the upcoming fiscal year this evening. A public hearing is slated ahead of a final vote by the Saugatuck City Council on a new budget to be enacted at the 1st of July. The nearly $7.5 million financial blueprint will maintain the current tax rate at nearly 10 mils, which is 18% lower than 10 years ago due to Headley rollbacks. And according to City Manager Ryan Cummins, will focus on various infrastructure investments, staff wage increases, and other priorities established by the governing panel this past winter. Last month, the city councils of Holland and Zeeland approved budgets for fiscal 2027. In addition, the Saugatuck Council will be asked to endorse a liquor license request for the Wickwood Inn Bed and Breakfast to be used only for overnight guests as part of regular meal services, with other restrictions in place. The local endorsement is a necessary step towards receiving a license from the State Liquor Control Commission. The 6:30 p.m. Saugatuck City Council business session is in the second-floor meeting room of Saugatuck City Hall. An online link to the agenda and supporting documents is in this story at WHTC.com. 3 persons have been hospitalized in Kalamazoo after being wounded in a shooting early yesterday morning at a party on Trimble Avenue near East Main Street. Public safety officers found a 21-year-old woman suffering from a wound when they responded, and say a 19-year-old man and a 14-year-old boy were also hospitalized, the 19-year-old in critical condition. A 29-year-old man was arrested on unrelated weapons charges and is scheduled to be arraigned today. Police are still looking for the suspected shooter. Grand Rapids police have a robbery suspect in custody after a brief standoff yesterday afternoon on the Calder City's west side. The suspect is a man in his 30s, was found at a home near 3rd Street and Lincoln Avenue with the help of the robbery victim, a man in his early 20s. Police arrested the suspect about an hour after they had arrived at the home. He was refusing to come outside, but nobody was hurt, neither the robbery or the standoff. A motorcyclist from DeWitt died in a crash at Groton Raceway yesterday afternoon. The Kent County Sheriff's Office say the crash happened around 3:15 in an open riding event at the track. The victim was 39-year-old, was wearing a helmet and full protective gear, died at the scene despite life-saving efforts by rescuers. He lost control of the machine and crashed. Deputies are investigating what caused the machine to lose control. A 3rd inmate in the past month in the Women's Huron Valley Correctional Facility has died. Ashley Hoth died on Saturday morning after being transferred from the prison in Ypsilanti to Trinity Health when an officer noticed she was not feeling well. Hoth's death is being called unexpected by the Michigan Department of Corrections, and who is investigating the matter. Kyra Howard died on May 13th, Rebecca Fackler on May 17th. Civil lawsuits have been filed by both of the families. State Representative Lori Podhusky and others are calling for the resignation of MDOC Director Heidi Washington. Michigan's new 25% wholesale tax on cannabis products that was enacted on January 1st is not meeting revenue projections.
The tax has generated $34 million in the first 3 months of this year, well below the $86 million that had been forecasted by the Michigan Treasury Department. Treasury spokesperson Danelle Gittes says the tax is new and complex, and there are several factors impacting the collection of it. Michigan Cannabis Industry Association Director Robin Schneider says a plan to pay for road funding with the cannabis tax has failed exactly as they said it would. I'm Michael Arney.
The 2026 Poverty Task Force report says 40% of Michiganders are at or below the asset-limited, income-constrained, and employed, or ALICE threshold and cannot afford basic needs. Governor Whitmer says the task force recommendation, quote, will help Michigan continue our bold progress to reduce poverty, expand economic opportunity, and help more families achieve long-term stability, end quote. Is there anything a naturalized U.S. citizen can do to revoke his citizenship? Congressman Bill Heisinger thinks there is. The 8-term Holland Republican introduced last week the Deport the Terrorist Act, which would create new grounds for deportation and to prioritize the removal of any individual whose citizenship is revoked due to a terrorism-related conviction. Heisinger believes that this is just a common-sense piece of legislation.
If you are convicted of a terrorism plot or a terrorism act, then the U.S. government should have the opportunity to rescind that citizenship that was granted to you and be able to deport you back.
H.R. 9096 has been referred to the House Committee on the Judiciary for consideration. Israel has attacked targets in Iran despite President Trump asking him not to. The strikes reportedly hit several targets, including the cities of Tehran and Isfahan, came early Monday local time after Iran fired missiles at Israel, which Israel claims were all intercepted. President Trump had said earlier in the day that he was going to call Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to ask his country not to retaliate. As hostilities in the region is into a fourth month, is there an end game to all this? The question was posed to Michigan 6th District Congressman Tim Walberg, a Republican from Tipton.
The end game is that Iran has no ability for a nuclear weapon. There is a regime change that the rest of the world can work with. The Straits of Hormuz will be open and free with no country controlling the straits. Those are end goals that the president put out from the very first day. And remember, when this all takes place and is complete, we will be in a better place.
Last week, the House passed a measure aimed at limiting President Trump's Iran war powers, but it wouldn't force him to end hostilities, even if passed by the Senate, because there are outstanding constitutional questions. Kevin McGonigal's 2-run single in the bottom of the 9th inning enabled the Tigers to rally past the visiting Seattle Mariners yesterday 5-4.
Just happy I got the opportunity to go out there and try to help this team win in the 9th, and just happy I got, barrel on the ball and was able to come through for the guys.
The Detroiters are home to the Minnesota Twins at Comerica Park tomorrow evening with broadcast time at 6:15 p.m. on WHTC Holland's Cool FM. Matt Chapman's 10th inning single played at the decisive run as the visiting San Francisco Giants edged the Cubs at Wrigley Field last night 2-1.
Coming up with runner on second base, no outs. I trust the guy behind me, so I was really I saw the 4-hole was open. I was trying to use that side of the field and at the very least get him over and was able to hit it hard enough to get through. So it's nice to be able to get a knock and get him in.
Chicago meets the Colorado Rockies in Denver tomorrow evening. Bryson Stott's RBI single in the 5th inning broke a 5-5 tie. And Don Mattingly's Philadelphia Phillies went on to defeat the visiting White Sox yesterday 9-5.
With this last series, just kind of staying with it and continuing to press on with runs. We had to also... we gave up some runs, and it seems like the whole series felt like a back and forth. Never felt really comfortable with a lead. Just a kind of a battle.
Chicago hosts the Atlanta Braves at Wright Field tomorrow evening. In an injury rehab assignment, Detroit Tigers left-hander Tarek Skubal allowed 2 hits with 6 strikeouts over 5 shutout innings as the Whitecaps whitewashed the visiting Dayton Dragons yesterday 8-0.
Velocity was good. Execution was good. Felt like I threw a ton of strikes. I was in the zone a lot today, so it was a good day.
West Michigan travels to suburban Cleveland to clash with the Lake County Captains tomorrow evening. Denny Hamlin grabbed the lead for good with 38 laps to go and took the checkered flag by more than 11 seconds from Eric Jones to win the Firekeepers Casino 400 NASCAR Cup race at Michigan International Speedway in the Irish Hills yesterday.
This Joe Gibbs team just keeps giving me amazing race cars. This national debt to it was just amazing, at the last run there, it just hammered down, had a few good restarts, and then once we got to the lead, I was going to lay it out all I had.
Get the latest news anytime at WHTC.com.